And welcome to another episode of TV is Our Real Mom. I'm Dave,
I'm Catie.
and you are listening to our weekly Survivor recap podcast in which we share our thoughts on the latest episode of Survivor. And this episode was titled Reinventing How This Game is Played. And that was the solution to the puzzle in the reward challenge.
Yeah, I don't know why it took him so long to get it. That was obviously the answer.
Yeah. Apparently it was very difficult. As a viewer on your couch, it doesn't really seem that difficult because you already know the answer, right? But
Yeah, exactly.
but how can you possibly know how tough it is without being in the dark about the answer?
I loved that entire montage of them trying to come up with different words. And Brad was, what did he say? Perspiration?
Perspiration. Somebody was like,
why would that be an answer to a puzzle, Brad? Come on.
Someone was like, nutrition?
Is that 11 letters?
Someone was like withering away. So it's obvious they had starving was very front of mind for them.
Yeah, that's true. That's what was on their mind. Mm-hmm. And sweating, apparently.
Yeah, sweating as well. Hot. Yeah. Must have been hot and hungry.
Not a good combo is what I'm told.
Yeah. So how does that challenge work? Like, I don't understand the number part of it. Like,
they did this one in Millennials Gen X, and I thought it was cool. Sorry, my computer's doing something. They have to. It's just you have to get the puzzle pieces in order, and it's really hard to do it because they're all mixed up, and you have to like pull the person, and it's not easy. But to me, like, it all seems pointless. Like, it just comes down to, if a puzzle's going to be that hard, just make it a puzzle and make them expend less energy,
Yeah, I guess but you got to have the theatrics and the drama too. So,
I know, but it seems like lately it just seems like it always comes to the puzzle. So like, why bother?
Yeah, especially when the puzzle takes that long to solve. It's really just a matter of, one person's going to get it way before the other person, or, someone's just going to get it first.
Yeah, apparently part of the requirement for being a game changer is being like an expert, like word wizard.
Yeah, that seems to have played a big part so far this season, for sure.
The puzzles have been tough. So, and it probably won't get easier. So start practicing your random words to pull out of thin air.
And well, I guess that, endurance challenges have come into play as well throughout the season.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
Like the immunity challenge was, what kind of?
You're right. Immunity challenges are a little different, but
yeah, they seem to save like the athletic stuff for that.
Right. Yeah.
Which is interesting. But the puzzles will come into play again in immunity challenges, I think, the closer you get to the end of the season, right?
Yeah, there's typically at least one towards the end. So
yeah,
I think we'll see some more, but
well, what the hell are we doing here? Why are we talking about challenges like this?
I don't know. Like, that's what matters. No, it doesn't matter. But I do want to say that Andrea winning so much, she's doomed, right? She's gonna be gone soon. Next, probably.
It's a really tough spot for her. Like, how do you play such a good game and not have people notice and target you? It's just that's the nature of Survivor and in the modern era, and it kind of sucks, because if you're actually good at Survivor, then you're bad at Survivor. We've talked about this, and this is exactly what's going to happen to Andrea. It's going to be very difficult for her to step out of the spotlight or the crosshairs. So
no, and I think she made it more difficult for herself, which I was a bit like, initially after the episode, I didn't like what happened. I didn't like what she did. And I guess I understand it more because Zeke was coming after her. He said it, but
yeah, he clearly said she was next after Sierra.
Right, so that's why I get it. But like, instead of making her group tighter, I think Michaela's been pushed further away. Officer Sarah's not going to do what anyone wants her to do. I think she's going to go where she wants to go. And I don't know if Andrea's just not aware how tenuous this 5 is, that she was so willing to get rid of one of the 6. But, like, it's not going to hold at all. I have no faith that it's going to hold.
Yeah, I mean it's a tough call because you don't know what would have happened. Like let's say they do get rid of Sierra and then it comes down to a battle of Zeke versus Andrea. Like which one comes out on top? Because that's pretty much what it's going to be the next week after Sierra goes home. It's going to
Hmm.
be one of those two, and who's going to win that battle? And if Andrea loses that battle, you know, obviously in retrospect, this was the right time to get rid of Zeke. So it's just one of
Yeah,
those things, you know.
you had to get rid of Zeke at some point. My issue with Andrea's game, and I don't know why I feel this way. I could be wrong. But like I just feel like she doesn't have the connections with people, like to win, even if she made it to the end. Like, does she have those relationships that would win her the game? I don't know if she does. She doesn't seem to form those bonds.
That's a good question. I mean, a lot of savvy Survivor players that have played with her before have said that she has a good social game.
That's
And
true.
I don't know what they mean by that. I suppose she's just like flirty. She's got a flirty personality and
She's nice.
makes you feel good, you know?
Hmm.
So, yeah, maybe she does have that social component as well. It's harder to see though. I agree with you that like it's
Hmm.
tough to see that, especially in this season, because really the most we've gotten out of Andrea is her being upset or
Yeah.
like
It
kind
seems
of
like she's been very emotional, like in making emotional decisions. And I don't know if I like that. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
yeah. And
There's
then
something off about her game. I think she's playing a good game, but I don't think it's gonna win her anything.
I mean, I was super impressed with her ability to get Zeke out in this episode. I mean, it was incredible, incredibly done. And I mean, she figured out the puzzle in the reward challenge. She
Hmm.
won the immunity,
Hmm.
and like Know It All's talked about, like when you have the necklace, like that's the time to make a big move. And just knowing that that was the time to do it. I mean,
Right.
all of that's awesome. But yeah, once again, you can't be actually good at the game of Survivor. And I mean, your chances of winning when you're actually good are low because everyone. Well, how do you?
It's getting lower, I feel.
Yeah, like how do you hide the fact that you're good when you're
Well,
good at
Cerie's
Survivor?
doing a bang up job of it. No one's
Yeah,
mentioning her. And I was more impressed with Cerie than anyone. Like she came to Cerie with her idea to get Zeke out. Cerie didn't push it, but she like advised her on how to approach Sarah and Sierra, etc. Like she was not, she was very important in getting that done. Like you can't just give Andrea all the credit. It was her idea, and she convinced the other people to go along with it. But Cerie assisted in convincing those people of something that wasn't even her idea.
yeah,
So,
I agree. Sari is just as much a part of this vote as Andrea is. It was like a team effort.
yeah.
They tag teamed it, and but Sari is the one that gets to be more in the background of it,
I
and that's
think
where you want to be.
maybe it's harder to be the whole package and win. Like you can't be strategic, social, and athletic and expect them to let you get to the end.
Right. It's just too difficult to hide.
Yeah.
And if there was a way, I mean, I don't know what it is. um, but yeah, good on Sari, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Looking at Andrea, Sari, Aubrey, like it's not even fair, right? I mean, those
Not
guys,
really.
that's a power trio right
That's a
there.
power trio for sure. Like, and I
Yeah.
don't know why they thought they could go up against it.
Yeah, I feel like
They have the numbers. You think when
everyone's
you have,
getting gamed by those
yeah.
three. Yeah, hard.
But I do think that Michaela has potential to turn on them now. And who else did they get? Who else is
Mm,
on their side?
was like
Oh, Sarah.
Sarah.
Sarah, she's gonna do whatever she wants. She could steal one of their votes and go back to the other side, But Sari knows that now. So
Yeah. I mean
that was key.
yeah, that can put a target on Sarah's back now. It's like maybe we should get this advantage out of the game while we know it's there, because that could screw. Like Sari could say, "Hey, that's gonna screw me over."
Hmm.
When there's like six people after something.
I think maybe Sarah's getting the Wentworth edit. That's my theory.
What is the Wentworth edit?
She's gonna be the one that almost makes it to the end, but not quite, and could have won if she'd gotten there, but won't. because she won't get there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I could see that for sure.
It just seems like it's been such a heavy focus on her lately that I feel like it's building to some kind of conclusion sooner than later.
Okay. We have what, 9 people left right now?
Yeah, but somehow only 3 weeks left.
Well, aren't there like 6 people left in the finale now
They've got
usually?
to get a double elimination here in one of the next few weeks because they can't have 7 people left in the final episode. Give me a break. 6 is pushing it. And you're going to do 7?
Yeah.
I'm not about that.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to handle that. That should be interesting to see.
But anyway, I don't know where I was going, but I was super impressed with Suri with this and just how she was just advising, like when Andrea was going to talk to Sarah, you could tell she was excited, but Suri was like, no, you got to be easy with her. You got to approach her real easy, like. And I was like, maybe that would have gone a different way if Suri hadn't been like her, good cop or whatever. They were probably both good cops. But you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know how it would have gone with just Andrea. I think Suri eases people and like reins in Andrea's over like strategy, crazy drive.
Yeah, Suri looks at the game on a deeper level, like a deeper social dynamics level,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, like you said, knowing to tell people to like rein it in a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
that's a deeper level of the game. I'm sure Andrea understands that, but I mean,
she got excited. She was excited after she won immunity. Like you could tell she was like, ah. So
like, go to work.
Suri was like, okay,
calm down.
Cool, but we need to calm down a little bit.
No, that was a cool scene where, like, I loved the way Know-It-Alls framed it, where they said it was like their office, and everyone was coming into their office and paying them a visit. And yeah, I loved the way they showed that to us because it really did feel like you were on the beach with those two, because it was almost like uncut for 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah, they kind of just let it roll.
Yeah, which you never see in
no, it's pretty rare. But
that was cool. I really liked that.
Why didn't they just try to pull Sierra in, like genuinely? Why did they hoodwink her?
Can you remind me of like how the votes actually played out? Do you remember like what
had happened? The 5 girls.
So
Aubrey,
Andrea,
Suri, Sarah,
Michaela.
And Michaela voted for Zeke.
Yep.
And Brad, Troyzan, Sierra voted for Ty.
Mm-hmm.
Ty voted for Sierra. Or no. Yeah. Ty voted for Sierra and Zeke voted for Sierra.
How did Ty and Zeke get the idea that it was Sierra? Is that just from
Zeke believed that he was going with the girls for this vote and he was going to go after Andrea next. So he thought the plan was Sierra from the beginning.
So where did Ty get his intel?
They fed him a line just like they fed the other 3 a line. They said, okay, we're voting for Sierra. Because they told him the same thing they told Zeke. So that way, there were only 3 names out there. And apparently they didn't talk to each other. Do you think it was a plan to pull Ty over?
Was what a plan to pull Ty over?
By getting Ty's whole alliance to vote for him.
Oh.
Were they trying to pull in Ty to replace Zeke?
If they were thinking that, that's a whole nother level. And like,
if anyone's capable of that level thinking, it's Suri.
It's Suri, Aubrey, and Andrea.
Yeah, the 3 of them together. Aubrey had a little moment with Ty. I saw it. They have their past, and I saw her nudging him a little bit. Like, I feel like it's possible she could pull him in again once, especially now that he's been betrayed by his alliance. I don't know.
Yeah. After Ty sees this vote go down and sees his name on the paper, is he even able to figure out that these people voted for him? Like,
because
can he even do that? Because it's Ty. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you don't think Suri and Aubrey are gonna be like, look, they were more than happy to vote for you.
So they'll point it out. Yeah, good point.
I have no doubt.
My question was, could he figure it out on his own that they were the ones who voted for him?
That's a stretch.
Or would he assume like, oh, I bet it was like Michaela and like he would just throw out random names.
Who knows? Like, I have to, these weird votes, like, I have to feel like Suri is behind most of them. You know what I mean? With the random Sierra vote a couple weeks ago, and with this 5-3-2 thing, like, I feel like that's classic Suri, and she's kind of behind this stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I also think Aubrey probably, as long as
Yeah,
Aubrey's as
I
long as
forget. It
Aubrey's
sucks. I forget about Aubrey.
yeah, no, as long as she's aware of what's going on, as
Hmm.
she's in the know a little bit, I think
Hmm.
she is just as much scheming these like clever
Hmm.
voting schemes, you know. But yeah, mostly Suri. So
Yeah, true.
that's, I mean,
She's
that's why things look pretty good for Aubrey right now because you just said Andrea is maybe the biggest target, and then I mean, it won't be long before they're like, oh yeah, Suri's here, so she'll be a big target, and then Aubrey will be forgotten about. So I'm feeling good about, as long as she can find the numbers towards the
Mhm.
end of the game somehow. I don't know how she can rally some troops, but I feel good about Aubrey now. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird because she's had such a quiet edit, but Michelle
Th-
did too.
they've sort of slipped her in like every
Yeah,
once in a
they
while.
managed to slip her in when she needs to be. I feel like Suri is doing a good job too. Like she has her connections with Brad and those guys too. Like she could, if they need her, she's there. You know what I mean? Like I feel like she's in a good kind of position too. I don't know. I feel good about Suri's chances.
Sure. I mean, you go back a couple episodes, we were given this final five that involved like Troyzan, Brad, Sierra, and then they brought in Aubrey and Suri. So
Mhm.
I wonder if that's it. I wonder if that's the final five.
Well, when Brad and Troyzan, they don't have a lot of options. So
But do they want to knock out Ty at some point? Is he somebody they are legitimately wanting to get out of the game at any point?
well,
Or
when Zeke and Sarah were talking about their final five, Ty was not in it.
right.
So Sarah
So
can always tell him that.
so
And be
why do they
like,
want to get rid of him just because he's too volatile at the end, or do they consider him actually a threat to win the game as like a likable person?
um, it could be that. It could be he's his how good he is at immunity challenges. I
Oh
don't know. It
yeah.
could be a few things. I'm not sure. That's a good question because he sucks at Final Tribal. I mean, you're golden if you're sitting next to that guy, but
Yes, indeed. And yeah, look at tonight. I mean, or not tonight, the night of the episode, whenever. Look at this
Wednesday.
episode. He had his name on the paper. Was it 3 times? Is that what you
That's the
said?
second time this season I thought he was going to go home with two idols in his pocket, and he didn't. So
Right,
somehow he
exactly.
knows he's
Yeah.
okay.
But no, I think it shows us that it is possible that he could hang on to him one more time when he shouldn't, and that's he goes out with two in his pocket.
That'd be funny. I mean, when there's
It's
nine
gotta
people
happen.
left,
I would love it.
I
Just
would not
because
love it.
he's turned out to be just kind of a clown
Yeah.
in the game. It'd be funny to see him go out that way.
It sucks that the idols are in the hands of clowns.
Well, what's Troyzan is just basically boring. That's all you can really say
He's
about him.
invisible.
Hmm. It's
It's
not like
like,
he's playing a terrible game.
no, he's not. He was playing a really good game, and just now he's on the wrong side of the numbers. But I don't know if it's a winning game. But again, we only know what we see. But I feel like if he was the winner, we would have seen a bit more of him.
Yeah, that's all I can say about him too. Is I don't know if he's playing a winning game.
Mhm.
He's won individual immunity. He's made relationships, but I don't know that he's likable enough at the end for people to give him the money.
Yeah, I don't know. I doubt it. If Troyzan
Maybe.
ends up being the winner, I mean, we're still 3 weeks out, and I suppose his stock could rise, but as of right now, but people could say the same thing about Aubrey. It's just that I happen to like Aubrey. She gets a little bit more than Troyzan does, but
I think
what
it's
else?
pretty clear that Aubrey is a strategic, smart
Yeah,
person.
she's just not the focus, the narrator like she was in Co Wrong, but you have a lot of other good narrators, so now that Zeke's gone, maybe Aubrey will become more of the narrator because Zeke was so good at that.
Right. I mean, if you still got Zeke in the game, you have to use him as the
Right.
narrator.
So maybe when you got Zeke and Aubrey in the same season, Aubrey doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah, I could get that. Yep.
Mhm.
All right. What else can we chat about, Catie?
Um,
What about like Michaela's crying at Zeke being voted out? What was
yeah,
that
we
all
didn't get
about?
a lot of coverage that they had a friendship, but she tweeted about it and she said she just wanted to explain why she was crying, and she said something along the lines of, imagine you only have 2 friends in life and you have to stab one in the back. That's why she was crying. But she's voted for Zeke at like every tribal council for the last couple of weeks. So it's like hard to understand, but maybe she knew he wasn't actually going home. I don't know, but whatever. She was sad, I guess. Now she only has 1 friend left.
Yeah, I guess all you can say is they probably were closer than we were led to believe.
Yeah, I mean, they're not just going to show a friendship just because it's a friendship, but kind of a missed opportunity, I feel like.
Right. What do you think about Michaela's chances in the game?
I feel like they're improving. But I also feel like she's going to go to the end no matter what. People are going to take her.
Right. Yeah, we were discussing this a little bit. That the jury kind of looks like they could go on Michaela's side, right?
Well, I think it was good, not that she did cry for this reason, but I think that doesn't hurt her chances with the jury, showing that emotion. And they didn't like the move getting rid of Zeke, so to show that she was maybe forced to go along with it and she didn't want to, I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, and I wonder how bitter this jury is going to be, because
Debbie, I mean, forget it. Debbie's bitter as crap.
She flipped 2 birds at who were they directed at again?
Everyone. Like,
I thought there was like Jeff said someone's name in particular at
the no, it was Sarah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
it was
like,
Sarah.
Sarah, you kind of
because she owned it. She owned the flipping, and I think it was smart of her to do that because she doesn't want someone else getting credit for her big move.
Right, but it's not that good of a move.
It's not, and that's the risk you take is when the person who it took out is as crazy and bitter as Debbie. But Debbie has no sway on a jury. Like, let's get real.
But like, what was that about then? At the end, at the end of the episode, when Haley looks over at Debbie and says "game changers," like sarcastically, and Debbie says "idiots." So like, I feel like that's a bitter jury already. They're hating on the people that are playing the game, and just I don't. That's why I think Michaela might have a shot, because there's a person that can win at the end just for not having played the game as hard.
Well, she's got a good story too, in that no one ever liked her. She's been like on the outs in every tribe she's been on since the beginning, but Abby could have said the same thing, and that's why they stay, because they're like that. But I don't put Michaela in the same realm as Abby. Like, to me, Michaela's far more entertaining. But like, other people who've been out there have, like, Malcolm compared her to Abby, and I was like, okay, not the vibe I get, but he doesn't see her confessionals. Maybe he doesn't see the funny Michaela, or who knows what happened. But yeah, she has a story to tell, and it looks like next week she's putting something together. So I don't know. I have a weird feeling that we might be seeing the rise of Michaela next week. I mean, she's still here.
So
which I'm shocked about.
Michaela could turn out to be our Luke Skywalker. Like,
yeah. Especially if someone cuts down her Obi-Wan in Suri,
which is
coming for blood.
Which is going to happen eventually, probably.
I don't know. I just keep picturing that moment with Suri on the balance beam playing on a winner's montage. You know what I mean? You know how they play those at the finale?
Yeah.
I mean,
and I'm not going to lie. I would love a Suri win. God, that would be sweet.
That would be so great, right? So, like, I feel like Suri and Michaela could go to the end together. Obviously, Suri wins in that situation, and that's might be one of the reasons Suri is grooming her and, like, being her friend, because that's a perfect person to take to the end. She's not taking Aubrey. She's not taking Andrea to the end. So,
yeah, I suppose that could be part of what Suri is up to there. Okay, what else we got, Catie?
Well, I've heard a couple people, and Zeke mentioned this too, and if you listen to Cochran's recap podcast, which is like 8 hours long, they both talked about how in returning player seasons, Zeke said this in his exit interview, that he felt this to be the case, that people just weren't having as much fun. Like, these players are just all business. They're more nasty. They're more business-like. And he came from probably one of the most cordial, fun seasons that Survivor has ever seen. And so, like, he said they were such vastly different experiences. And getting back to your bitter jury thing, I think, yeah, this jury might be bitter because they're not having as much fun out there, because apparently they don't in returning player seasons, according to the people who've done it.
Yeah, returning players just like all feel entitled to the win, I suppose.
Yeah, they have the ego. Like, it's not a novel experience like it was the first time, you know? They feel like they are supposed to be there. They belong there.
Right.
So it kind of bummed me out to hear that.
Yeah.
It bummed me out.
Yeah, because returning player seasons can be so much fun just with big characters.
Yeah. And this season has been fun, but it's when a season is as much fun as Millennials versus Gen X, it comes across, and it kind of makes me excited for the next new player season.
Yes, indeed. Me as well. Hopefully it's as good as Millennials versus Gen X.
Or Cagayan. That was a nasty season, though, but fun.
Yeah, for sure. Any other big topics you want to cover on this episode?
Ooh, I don't know, man. I watched this on my phone at like late at night.
Oh, do you want to examine anyone's game that we haven't talked about? Like,
I mean, Brad seemed to be. They seemed to focus a lot of attention again on Brad, who found himself on the bottom and decided to just kind of work his way in. But I feel like he was saved this week, but through no fault of his own. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't his own doing.
Right, but I don't think he was ever a target yet. So, I mean, that's
Sierra was the target.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's good for him. That means, you know, he wasn't even being considered. It's not like, oh, his neck was on the line. And, like, I think Brad, you know, could be the last one standing out of that. If his original alliance that was kind of in power a couple weeks ago, if they're the ones that get picked off, I think Brad might be the last one standing, just because he has relationships with everyone.
Yeah, but are relationships more powerful than idols? Because everyone else in that alliance has an advantage or an idol.
Right. So maybe his alliance will stand strong.
Yeah, I mean, they may be only 4, but if they tell each other they don't even know the power they have. Like, they're together, but they don't know how invincible they could be if they stuck together and just idled these people out one by one, and then they'd have the numbers again and it'd be done. But they're so secretive with these idols, you know? And I'm glad they are, because obviously I'm rooting for the girls, the other people, but I'm just thinking to myself, if only you guys would share this with each other, you'd be unstoppable.
Well, we've talked about this in other podcasts. Like, what is the right thing to do with the idol? Is it to keep it a secret, share it with one person you trust, or just wear it around your neck and be like, come at me, bro?
Well, in times of desperation, they seem to come out. And I thought Ty and Troyzan, when they were having that conversation, were going to be like, I might have one. And then that would open the floodgates for the other one to be like, oh, I might have one too.
Yeah, that was a pretty awesome scene with the two of them talking, and they both had idols, and it didn't
pretending they didn't. Yeah.
But no, we've talked about this, and I thought we landed on the best thing to do is to not tell anyone you have them. And so this is an interesting thing that's playing out here. It's sort of an argument against that sentiment, that maybe it's good to share that information with somebody at some point, because you might not realize the power you have if you're not sharing it with anybody, because it doesn't give you that opportunity to have that synergy. So
yeah, like an ally, they've been together so long at this point, and it's never even crossed his mind to share it. Even with Brad could be the go-between, and they could somehow figure out all the idols that are in their possession. Sorry, I got excited.
Just playing with your hair over there.
Yeah. But, it's tough. because they might need them, so they want to surprise people, I suppose, because word could get around. Remember last season when, rumor is, who has an idol? David has an idol or something like that. Word gets around.
Word gets around. It does.
Yeah.
But yeah, when are these advantages and idols going to come into play? I mean, we're running out of time here. Are they all going to hit at once?
I have a feeling it's going to be super anticlimactic and like none of them are going to get played.
I have that concern too. That I've been thinking about that. I'm like, is that really going to happen this season? Like all these people find advantages and idols and like they never get used.
Ty never played his idol and go wrong. So
there's precedent there.
There's a precedent. Troyzan played his wastefully, I believe. So he's scared to waste it again.
Yeah.
I think Sarah will use her advantage and Sierra will use hers if she's still around, or whoever she wills it to will use it.
That's what I'm thinking about Sierra. Sierra could very well be the target next week again and go out before she gets a chance to use it. But
she wills it to someone.
Yeah, that's right. It's a legacy advantage. So ultimately, somebody's going to end up using that at.
She could will it to Brad. Okay. Brad, Ty, and Troy can all be immune at Final 6. And then someone from the other side has got to go.
And Ty could even play both his idols and make a fourth person.
Yeah, he could find someone else that he wants to stay and be like, here you go. And then you have one person with the necklace. Only one person can go home. You're going to have a second chance situation here.
You're right. It's if that legacy advantage gets used and 4 idols or 4 immunities, that leaves one person only that can be voted out. And that's the one who goes home.
That is. Yeah, so it could be bad or good. I don't know.
This is going to be bad.
It's probably going to be bad because all the people I don't want to have that stuff. But if 3 of the final 6 people left are Ty, Troyzan, and Brad, we're in trouble anyway. So
yeah, I'm still a little surprised how much Brad has, changed my perception of him from coming into this game. Like I'm at a point now where I don't feel that bad about him winning. So, I mean, that says something about what he's brought to the table this season, I think. So
true.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't hate it.
Any final thoughts on the Andrea situation? Because I feel like that was the big thing of this episode is like, and it's all about Andrea this episode.
I liked what you said after the episode because I didn't like the move and I expressed my dislike for it. But you said she's going down anyway. She just took him with her. And I think that's right. Yeah, she's got to be going soon.
I think that's what it comes down to. Yeah, it's like we got clear information on our screen from Zeke himself that she was next. So, I mean, she would have gone if she would have left him in the game.
Yeah.
So her taking him out first just means she gets to spite him a little bit too.
Yeah, and she has time to dig herself out of whatever hole she might have made. But I don't know. I think Michaela's I think she'll be loyal to Sari, but I don't think she has any love for Andrea now.
No, I don't think so either. So, I mean, I'm still rooting for Andrea because I really thought she played extremely well. This was a great episode for her. She's just in a tough spot being as we discussed at the beginning of the episode, being such a great player makes her easy to knock out, an easy target.
She's like Joe Anglem, but with brains.
What, you don't think
they're gonna vote her out?
Joe doesn't have brains? Like, what is it
he has like a brain in his head?
What do you really hate about Joe Anglem? I don't know.
He's a smug douche.
It was the smugness.
The smugness. And even people who were out there with him have reported on the smugness. Smugness has been confirmed.
Like he loves the smell of his own farts.
Yeah,
like,
dude, it probably has healing powers. We defended Joe on remember our first season we podcasted, we were like, I like Joe. Nothing wrong with Joe. But by the end of that season, we were like, oh, freaking Joe.
Well,
yeah.
We never podcasted about
No, but Our very
Sorry.
first podcast was talking about the cast of Second Chances.
Yeah.
And we gave our thoughts on Joe pre-season 31. And we both were like, our sister hates Joe, but we don't mind him so much. Turns out our sister was onto something.
Oh, she always is. We gotta get Cassie back on the podcast.
Yeah, we
soon.
still haven't done one with her this season. We'll have to get one going here.
We talked about it when doing like a merge thing, but we didn't.
That ship has sailed.
We just didn't.
Maybe next week. Maybe if there's a double boot coming up here.
Maybe she can get on the finale too or something.
Yeah, that cool. Yeah, that too. Because the finale is always like you have nothing to look forward to, so it's kind of a downer to talk about it.
Yeah. You got any funny moments you want to bring up? Funny stuff from the episode?
Not off the top of my head. I'll probably think of something afterwards, but
I liked the I wanted to start this podcast with a joke about like, Catie, is your heart turned on? Are you ready? And is your heart flipped on or is it off?
I don't remember this. What is this from?
That was Michaela in the tribal council. She talked about sometimes you gotta flip your heart to the off position or something. She talked about turning.
See, she says that, and then she weeps.
Actually, I think she said turning your heart down the first time, and then she talked about turning it back on or something. But then know-it-alls stole my joke, so I couldn't use it.
Boy, I think we listened to too much of them.
Yeah, well, I came up with it before I heard them, so.
But I know, but I'm just saying,
we're just
clearly thinking like them.
Thinking like them, yeah. That's bad. Echo chamber shit over here. I'm sure there's a lot of that going on in our podcast, but hey, it's some of these ideas are original, I'm sure.
Whatever, all of them are.
Let's see. My favorite funny moment from the episode was when they were at the reward. There was like all this fancy food and they're like showing all these awesome shots of it. And then Aubrey's like, "Oh, an egg."
Like, God bless her. She does something awesome every single week. Like
she got all excited about an egg when there's like all this food.
She loves eggs.
And it was one singular egg, she said too. She wasn't like, "Ooh, eggs." She was like,
and
"Ooh,
don't
an
they
egg."
Like have chickens? Like, aren't they getting eggs at camp?
Apparently not, because she was pretty excited.
They must have ate those chickens, man.
She was pretty excited about one egg, so I don't know. Unless I misheard it, but I'm pretty sure she said
no. It was. I remember now. Yeah, it was an egg. That made me laugh too.
Another funny thing was like when Brad got back from the meal, like everyone's like, "Oh my god, you gained weight," and I was like, "Are you serious?" Like
it looked like he was bloated. You could tell.
That's crazy, man.
I even thought that
you can actually gain weight from like one meal
when you're that hungry and that deprived. Yeah.
Jeez, that's insane. I can't imagine what that would be like.
It doesn't last, especially on there, but like it's like bloat because that sticks around for a while and eventually it's like water weight and it goes away. But you're going to be bloated for a while after gorging yourself like that.
That's interesting. Like I can't imagine being on the beach like starving and seeing
Don't you ever like, okay, when you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you're like, "Ooh, I'm skinny." And then by the end of the day, you're like, "How'd I get so fat during the day?" Is that just a girl thing?
That is totally a girl thing, and especially you're talking.
Well, it's the bloat. The bloat,
you're
like
to the wrong guy. Like I have trouble keeping a healthy weight on, so it's like, yeah, I have the opposite problem.
Yeah, I mean, bloat distorts your body, and that's what that was.
That's interesting, huh? That's crazy. I thought that was funny.
Do you have an MVP for this episode? Or are you just sticking with Andrea?
I mean, there isn't much of a better one unless you want to go with Suri, because Suri got the vote to go the way they wanted it to go, but she was the one who won't experience as much of the fallout, most likely. But Andrea, it was Andrea's doing, and she won reward, immunity, and pulled this off, which is amazing, and did it just on a, like she went after Zeke just based on what she had heard from before, not knowing that it was still front of mind for Zeke, like she was next. So yeah, Andrea MVP all the way for me.
I thought it was interesting that Zeke said in some of his exit interviews that after the infamous tribal council with Jeff Varner, that, even though he got support from these people, he felt like people like Andrea and Cerise stopped strategizing with him because they didn't want to go to the end with him. And so it kind of makes his move that made no sense a couple weeks ago, it makes it make a little more sense because he knew his number is going to be up soon no matter what. And so he just tried to work with what he had. So it makes a little more sense now.
Yeah, knowing if that's true, knowing that, I would retract my stance on Zeke. Was that last week we were talking about this?
It must have been last week or the week before.
Yeah, I would retract my stance on that because if I was in his position and I got the same vibe, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, you know? and it also makes me think, like, for Andrea to be so mad, she said she didn't do anything to deserve it. But if she was, you know, she could have connected the dots, right? Like, it's understandable for him to be upset that you're just kind of not talking to him anymore, you know?
Yeah, I mean, maybe she really was that, naive about how she was coming across to him, or
maybe.
Yeah. Did we like give Zeke justice in this episode of discussing? Because I don't know that we talked much about Zeke.
We didn't. He got voted out.
He got voted out, and he's been such a huge part of the season, and we've been giving him accolades for the last 2 seasons, and yet we didn't. We almost forgot to talk about him at all.
Yeah, that's true. That's terrible. But like, he didn't do that much different in this episode. I mean, I was happy that he got that reward. He seemed super psyched about that reward. I thought it was, again, I'm sorry I'm being so hard on Andrea. Like, she had a good week, but like, how she was so pissed that he was talking to Brad Culpepper. I'm like, so they're talking about football. Like, and she was right that they were bonding and were planning something with each other. But I don't know. It just seems she's so paranoid, and that's a hallmark of her gameplay. But
yeah, to me, it's the way she expressed it, because because I mean, you're right. Like, they're going to talk. People are going to talk, and they might even be striking up a rapport, and that's just going to happen. But like, you sort of can express like a sort of suspicion. You're like suspicious of it, without being like straight up like, this guy's an idiot. What is he doing talking to him? Like that's just stupid.
Don't you feel like the move though is for them all to try to bond with Brad Culpepper?
Absolutely.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, make him feel good. Don't just
use him down the road. You're not going to stick with these 5 girls the whole way. You'd be a moron to stick with Aubrey and Cerie the whole way. Like, open up avenues,
For sure. Yeah. And so obviously express your suspicion about the situation. Be like, I wonder how deep, like, question it. I wonder how deep that relationship between Zeke and Brad goes, this rapport over football. Like, I wonder how deep that is. Express that suspicion, but don't be like flat out like, this guy's an idiot for talking to him,
Just give him the stare. Like,
yeah, I don't get that.
Maybe that's why I'm like dubious about her chances, because I feel like other people like Cerie and Aubrey, they have avenues. I feel like Andrea's kind of boxed herself in with this group, and if one of them goes, which she orchestrated getting rid of one of her own, and if one other one goes, like, she's done. She's just done.
I think that's a very astute observation about Andrea and her position in the game. It's going to be tough for her. I agree. And yeah, these other people have relationships that she does not. So
yeah, and she opened up something with Sierra Dawn Thomas, but then completely hoodwinked her. So like, what was the point of that?
Yeah, yeah, it's like backpedaling on the work you just did, I guess.
I don't know. It seemed there were things of like, I couldn't quite put my finger on why I didn't like the move. Like, I know why it made sense, but I don't think long term it benefits her in any way.
Yeah, it's really, like you said, she's taking Zeke down with her.
She's doomed, I think.
That's all it is. But yeah, she's not the only one who felt, scared of Zeke. We got an Aubrey confessional saying she thinks Zeke is trouble. Kind of the same sentiment that Andrea had in that confessional, Aubrey had as well. And then we also got a confessional from Cerie saying, I've played this game 4 times and Zeke knows this game better than I do.
Yeah.
So yeah, Zeke was definitely on people's radar as someone to be concerned about. He was going to have a tough time, I think, no matter what. Kind of like Andrea. Andrea and Zeke, two peas in a pod, man.
Yeah.
Like they're very similar.
I think they're gonna be buds on the jury real soon.
Yeah, I hope they can bury the
If they
hatchet.
can, yeah, work it out. I'm sure they can. They both
I'm
seem
sure.
like
Reasonable
mature, reasonable adults.
Survivor fans, you know.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess I went with Andrea as my MVP. Do you want to give us yours?
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Okay.
Although I expressed some misgivings about what she did, but she was clearly the star of the episode.
Yeah, she gets MVP this week, but doesn't mean she's not going home next week.
True.
So
Which brings us to predictions.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how this happens. Maybe an idol, maybe Michaela flipping, but I think Andrea's done next week.
I can't remember the preview. Can you give us a quick reminder of that?
All I remember is Michaela in the water with Troy and Ty and giving them fives, like making a deal, it appears.
That could backfire on her.
It could, and it could be fake. I can't imagine her doing that without Serene knowing about it.
Right. Last week, you said Zeke was going to go home, right? Or did you?
Have I been right 2 weeks in a row?
I thought so, unless you said Andrea. I can't remember if you said Andrea or Zeke. Andrea. I'd have to go back. I honestly forgot. I thought you said.
I'll check it out, but 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I thought you said Zeke. And then you also called that you predicted that there's probably going to be a women's thing going on. And that kind of came true in this episode as well.
Yeah. I don't know how long it'll last, but yeah.
But yeah, my prediction is that whole thing Michaela is doing there is going to backfire on her. They'll use it against her, and she'll become the target.
You think Michaela's going home next week?
Michaela's going home next week.
Whoa. Sheesh, didn't see that coming. Okay.
I'm throwing it out there. All right.
Sounds good.
All right. Anything else you want to add for this episode?
That's about it. We're winding down here. Just a few weeks to go.
Just a few weeks, and I have no idea how they're going to squeeze it all in.
Yeah, they really cram it in at the end, don't they?
Indeed, they do. Well, that'll do it for this episode of the podcast. We appreciate you guys for listening. Follow us on Twitter at TV is our real mom, and be sure to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe.
Subscribe.
And we'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Bye.